everybody, I'm Larry LaFury for WCTV, the all-volunteer cable access group from the Township of Washington. And joining me is John Francola, and we have tonight for you an outstanding show that we've been doing for a couple of years, our pro football review, John, or preview, sorry, a pro football preview. And John, what we are going to do is we're going to visit with a number of coaches and talk about their teams.
Larry, that's great for us. So when we do these games, we have a good background and it builds, we create an image and all of a sudden it blossoms into a fantastic season.
Yeah, when we visit the coaches, we're going to ask them about their teams, basically to give you an understanding, an idea, some of the players that you should look forward to as the year goes on, their philosophy, what they think could happen, their schedule, who they're going to play, the difficulty, the challenges, and then the successes that they're having, seeing these young athletes progress from year to year and get better.
And for us, Larry, does our job, and to me, we want to be able to tell people out there what these kids are all about. I mean, winning and losing for us, we want a good game, and we want the kids to show what they can do.
Yeah, so we're going to visit a number of the coaches that we'll be covering during our year of covering high school football and just get a sneak preview of each one of these schools. Well, I want to thank the coaches for inviting us to their campus and giving us time, which is very, very rare today because they work so hard and their day is filled up. They were able to give us time. So let's begin now as we visit the various coaches in Bergen County. Well, we continue with our interviews with coaches, and we're very happy to be at the Westwood High School. We're going to interview the head football coach, Dennis Hard. Dennis, thank you for taking time
My pleasure.
to talk to us. How many years have you been here at the Westwood?
I've been here at Westwood 12 years. This is my 8th year as the head coach. I'd like to say things have gone pretty smooth, and we got some people ready to play this year.
Now, last year, John Francola, who's working with me on these interviews, we're here and he interviewed you, and you said that last year you had a very, very difficult schedule, and you had a young team, and that team really came through in some big ways and had some good victories and learned a lot, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, two teams that when we saw them on the schedule with Passaic Valley, we thought, they were a good team coming in, and we played lights out that night right here. Another phenomenal game against West Milford here. Came down, we went overtime, we went for 2. Exciting finish, 36-35. So we had some tight games last year, but yeah, the team really rose up, and like I said, our schedule was tough, but we answered it.
And now this year, many of those same kids who played last year, sophomores and juniors, are moving up, becoming juniors and seniors. We want to talk a little bit about them, and if we take it sequentially, let's start where everybody wants to start, with the offense and defensive line. Talk a little bit about your offensive line and some of the kids we should look forward to seeing.
Yeah, we got coming back. He's an all-league selection. Jack Mactis, who's one of our captains. Real good player. He's going to be a two-way player. He's got a new position on defense, playing linebacker. Did a great job at guard. Chris Picnic, a big right tackle, big body. Had a real solid year last year. Was second-team all-league. We expect big things out of him. He's got some great shape, throwing around some real weight as far as in the weight room, putting some real good work with us, getting it ready. R.J. Usher will be a guard. He'll be on nose guard, but he's going to be an offensive guard too. Big body. He's only a junior, but he's going to be a good player for us going forward.
And defensively, will the young people playing on will the athletes on the offensive line be playing defense, or will you be able to substitute?
Yeah, some of them will be two-way. I mean, my thinking is we always want to get the best players on the field, but a lot of times, if they're just about even, we want to get as many people on the field as we can. And we have some quality players that feel we can do that, to keep people fresh and ready to go. It's a long season. We go through the 8-game season with all the scrimmages and everything. We need bodies and ready to play. So, yeah, we want to get as many people involved. And my offensive coordinator, Bobby Guy, does a great job with that, rolling it in. Amir Sadat, the defensive coordinator, does a great job, too, getting people ready. For instance, we had a 7-on-7 just the other night, and we were rolling people in and really didn't skip a beat with making substitutions.
And remember last year, your linebacker core, I thought the linebackers played fairly well, if not very good last year. A lot of them are coming back this year?
Right. Yanni Constantinidis. Yanni's a 3-year starter. He's one of our other captains, and he's looked real good so far. He put his time in the weight room, coming in great shape. And I said, Mac, this will be another linebacker inside. Luke Biello will be an outside linebacker, doing a real fine job. Jack Dugan comes down from a safety position. He'll be an outside linebacker with Tommy Busanich, who was a starter last year. So a lot of these guys have experience. They're not brand new coming in, so that's what we're really excited about.
Is Biello a sophomore or a junior?
He's only a sophomore.
I thought so. He played as a freshman last year.
Yep.
You have a couple of good sophomores coming up on defense you want to talk about?
Absolutely. Sean Morrison, outstanding athlete. He's a backup quarterback for us, but he looks to be in the mix at safety. Probably be a starter there. Real good athlete, and we see some really good things from him. On the other side, at the corner position, Aiden Carazana did a real fine job. Last year he was a starter all year at corner. Coming back and has done some really great things for us so far. So we have people that we could put on the field that we feel really good about.
I remember last year coming here after your first game. I think I forget who it was, you lost, and I remember doing the post game here, and I said the team you see here in September will be a different team that you see in November, and that was true. And I think the one that reminds me the most, getting ready for this, is your quarterback who grew up right in front of my eyes, Kosic. He really took a big step that year. Talk a little about this young man and the attributes he brings to your team.
Oh, Robbie's just such a fine athlete. He's a varsity starter. He'll be a 4-year starter in just about every sport. The only reason he didn't get a varsity letter his freshman year with us was the COVID season, was only 4 games. Otherwise, he would have been up with us that year too. For him to step in, it was a last-minute thing. Our other quarterback went down with COVID. We had like 5 minutes to get ready against Richard Park, who was very good last year. And he just come out in the first half. We turned around, we were up 21-0. And we had to kind of hang on in the second half, but that was a big game for him to step up and made a big play on defense. He had a break up and an interception in the end. So he did some great things for us. With him as a starter, we only lost 2 games. The other game that we lost to Lincoln, he was out. He had a tonsillitis, so he wasn't able to play there. But
and he's a junior. So
yes. Robbie's a junior.
You as a coach, Bobby Guy, you on the offensive side, what makes him so special?
He's just so elusive, and he's such a great athlete. Like, he's hard to tackle. Like, I don't want to jinx it, but he's one of these guys that never really gets hit hard. He's elusive. He's like a slippery watermelon in that sense. He just does a great job that way.
And of course, let's get to your running back.
And the other, I should say, he's a very accurate passer. He puts the ball, makes our receivers look good that way too.
He puts the ball.
And he's a two-way threat. He'll pull the ball down and run. He runs a bootleg real wide, and people, it's tough to defend him.
And your running back, I know a young man, you'll talk a little bit about him, is coming back after a big injury last year.
Yeah, Anthony Sabatella. This was actually, of all things, his first day back today, and I was really excited for him because, you're always worried about him coming back, especially with ACL. It was a tough injury to have, and he worked his tail off to get back. And to come back this first day, you wouldn't even know he had the injury. So we're excited with him. AJ Milo was up being the mix as a running back. Aiden Dugan will play in the slot, Jack Dugan will be in the slot and also be at running back, and then his brother Aiden Dugan, who's the sophomore, is up and comer. He'll do a good job with us too. And I
can't go out without talking about the. I guess he's all-purpose player. Tory Lawton. I wonder why sometimes I forget that name.
Yeah.
Lawton. He does everything. He's an all-purpose back. He reminds a lot of some of these pros that can play many positions.
No, absolutely. Kobe's just a gifted athlete. He came in to the program, started as a freshman, so he's going to wind up being a 4-year starter for us. And he deserved to be in it wasn't a situation where a necessity. He deserved to start as a freshman. He has over 6,000 yards as receiving so far. He would add a higher mark as a receiver, but we had to use him as a running back. We had injuries last year where our running back broke a collarbone, was out. So we really put a lot on his plate. And he also starts at safety. He's one of the other ones that'll start at safety. He'll be a two-way player and runs back punts, runs back kicks. He's just a great player. He's getting recruited by some decent schools. Ithaca's looking at him, Monmouth down there. Hopefully he goes pretty well. And the great thing about it with us, and it's going to help us during the season, these seniors are some great students. Kobe's has a 3.1. Jack Dugan's on an honor society. He has over a 4-point average. Also, Jack Mactus is an honor society player. They take the graded courses where they take a higher GPA, so it's over a 4.0. So there's some good students, and Yanni Constantine is also a good student too.
Yeah, I remember.
That's the great thing. They have choices. A lot of times players, and also in the end they can't get into schools, we're not going to have that problem at all with these
I
seniors.
remember calling games with Dugan and Corey Lawton, both being freshmen and playing
Yeah.
in vital roles. And you
Absolutely.
knew they were going to be good. And I said, they're only going to get better, and they've done. Before we let you go, your first game is going to be a very special one. It's you're going to be playing at Rutgers against Shore Hills. Talk a little bit what that means to this program to go down to Rutgers and play your first game.
Yeah, the kids are all excited about it. You know, it's called Rumble on a Raritan. There's 6 games that are there. We actually open up. It's a Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock. Shore Regional, a team that's just like us, same record, got to the semifinals. You know, it's kind of a team that we haven't seen, but they run offensive wing tee a little bit. We've had plenty of work against that. It's an exciting thing that, you know, both of us are coming halfway and meeting right at Rutgers. And, you know, as soon as that was put on the plate, you know, you could just see the players light up and real excited to start the season this way.
Well, I want to thank you.
Yeah, there's one other player I just want to talk.
Sure.
Joe and Steve Klein, their brother combination, they'll be playing a corner and then also at safety positions. Joe Klein started last year at corner at certain times, and he's looked real good too. The other night we did the 7-on-7, did a great job catching balls, and he's just another weapon.
Joe Klein, if I'm not mistaken, he's a relation with Eddie Rydell.
Yes, they are. It's good genes that way,
Yeah.
and you know, it's.
There's a cousin. They're cousins. His grandfather's Joe Klein, who played football for Westwood at the old A field.
Yeah.
I know your first home game, I think it's against Riverdale here. It's your
Yeah,
third
that's
game.
going to be a big one. Yeah, week 3, Riverdale's coming here. We're happy about them that we have at home, but that's going to be huge. Week 2, we go to Dumont. Then week 4 is Mawa, and that's always a big rivalry game. And week 5 is the big one. The big one, the 2-time league champions, Ramsey. Ramsey hasn't lost a league game in 2 years. You know, it's been a couple years since we beat them. We had some success, but last year, you talked about it before opening day, they kind of put it to us, and you know, that's in the back of everybody's mind. Adam Baeira did a great job there turning their program around, and you know, he's got some weapons and some very good players.
He does.
Scholarship kids that are moving on. So.
You got Lakeland. You got that's
Yes,
coming.
Lakeland. They're not in our conference anymore, but that's an independent game. We saw them 2 times last year. It was a tight game up there, and then we met them in the playoffs. And then towards the end of the season, Richfield Park, like I said, was a team that nobody expected a lot from. But their quarterback Cooney was a very good athlete, and that was a tight game. And we're going to go down to Pitt the end of the year, and you know, I mean, we expect that one to be a tough one too.
Great schedule. Now we'll be WCTV. We'll be this being our home school. We'll be doing your 4 home games, and then we talk to Coach Baeira. Maybe we can get up and do your game at the Ramsey, because it will be a big one,
Correct.
like you said. So we'll try to get those games in, and then we'll follow you. We're not making a prediction. I want to jinx anybody, but it will follow you through the playoffs that start the end of October. I want to thank you for coming, all the help you give us during the year. It's really appreciated, Coach.
My
You're
pleasure.
one of the guys who really we can call anytime and give us help. And boy, there are times we really need some help, and
Yeah.
you're always there.
Okay.
So best of luck in the upcoming season, and we'll see you here shortly.
Yeah, hey, the kids love it. They always that night they'll go home and watch it. You know, what's it, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock comes up right away, and they'll watch it. And we have our films. It actually makes it easier for us because they know exactly. They see their mistakes. They know there's no hiding from the tape, and it gets us through our film session a little bit better. It helps us a lot.
Well, we're very happy to
appreciate it.
provide that for you because we have a ball doing it.
Yeah.
This is Dennis Hard, the head football coach at Westwood High School. Well, we're here at Paramus Catholic High School as we continue talking to the high school coaches, and we're very happy to have a real old friend of WCTV and personally mine and John Francola's, Greg Russo. Coach, I want to congratulate you on becoming coach here at Paramus Catholic. You're returning home.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a lot of the days you guys were here. We were eating sandwiches in pregame. We were getting ready to go, and we're back.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, when I was scheduling to play. When you play Don Bosco Prep, we're going to have what we call here is the meatball game. John Francola's wife makes meatballs. I bring this bread. We make sandwiches and we hand it out to everyone. So we're going to turn the tables on you. We're going to
Okay.
give you the meatball sandwiches.
Hey, I'll take a meatball sandwich.
So, yeah, I mean, people have to realize that when you were the offensive coordinator here, you always have sandwiches for WCTV, and they were some good sandwiches. You want to say where you got them from?
I think we were at Cosmos in Hackensack.
All right, they're good sandwiches.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about yourself. You went to this. You went here as a student.
That's correct. Yep, I graduated in 1998,
And-
we won the states my senior year. Mike Campanile was the head coach.
Okay, so after that, where did you start your coaching career?
I started in recreation. I started coaching in Westwood recreation. I had a cousin that was down there, and I started coaching there. I think when that group I was coaching was in 2nd grade, and I stayed with them all the way through 8th. And we had a great run. It was a lot of fun. And then I ended up, my first year here, I did both because I didn't want to leave the kids down there when they were in 8th grade. And then after they finished, I just went into high school.
And that would be the Wolverines of Westwood. And I always tell people, Westwood high school football really took off when the program at Westwood started, the Wolverines. Washington Township had the Falcons in their rec program, and then both of them melded together and put together some great teams over the last 20, 25 years.
I had some great players in that recreation. Nolan Borgeson was like the all-time leading receiver at Westwood. He was tearing it up as he was a little kid. A lot of that whole group, Colin Saunders, and they went on to win 2 state titles. I had those kids from the time they were babies. So it was fun for me to watch them too.
So I saw them develop. Let's talk a little bit about here. You've coming back now, head coach. Needless to say, Paramus Catholic had some tough times last year. You're getting a team. You have to you have to tear the whole team apart, then put it back together.
Yep, for sure. They've had a couple rough years. The players here, initially there was, they were feeling us out, the new staff coming in, and that always happens when you're somewhere new. I've had to do that twice now. But they're picking it up really well. They're believing in it and they're working hard, and there's no magic to any of this stuff. You're a good coach or whatever, but you got to get kids to buy in, and then you got to stay on it, and you got to make sure they're doing the things that it takes to win. And we're doing that. They're having a really good summer. I like kind of where we're at right now, and we got to get better. Don't get me wrong, but so far they've really bought in. They're working really hard with the coaching staff, and things are going really well.
We both know Jimmy Avitabli very well, and he says you got to start from the bottom with your freshman team.
Yeah.
You have a good freshman team coming in to start that foundation.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, very strong class. I mean, I was here a lot of years. During that time, we brought in a lot of great players. I don't remember a class that in its entirety is better than this one. And coming back in when you're coming off an 0-9 season and being able to build that type of class is great. And you do have to start there because that's your foundation. It's your year one guys. And they've come in and done a great job. And they're here at practice every day. They're lifting, they're meeting. They're we're developing them like they're their own team, and they are, and they're important. And I think they got a lot of potential.
Right. So let's talk about the varsity team now, and everybody talks now about the line, offense, defensive line. Whether you're in rec football like you with the Wolverines or you're in a professional football team, everybody's looking at the line. Talk a little bit about your offensive line first.
Yeah, I mean, I think the offensive line is probably our deepest group, I would say. We got they're big boys up there. I think that's going to surprise some people. We have Wamanai as a left tackle that's got a lot of offers. The guard, Devin Fergali. Center, E.J. Beaudry was here. There's a right guard. There's a couple different guys, but Jamal Simon. And, we have LSAO Polanco. The right tackle is Jonathan Camacho right now. There's another guy that was here, Malachi Goodman. Those guys are all 6'4", 6'5", 270 and up. A lot of underclassmen in the group. There's some older guys in that group too. But they're a good group with a good mix of skills. I think they can do a lot of things. And we're learning too, because this is only really our second week, really on the field together. So you're kind of learning about those kids and who they are and what they do well, and but a lot of potential there for sure.
Now, what about the defensive line quickly?
Defensive line, a lot of the same guys. Manny Quintillo's another guy that'll probably be on, within those other guys I said, will be in that group. Jamal Simon will play in there. There's a couple other guys fighting for another end spot. There's a bunch of guys that are in that group, but I think we're going to be pretty strong up front on both sides.
And let's talk about some skilled positions.
Yeah.
Your quarterback. You need somebody to take the ball from center and run your program. Talk about your quarterback and his strengths.
Yeah. So I've had 3 guys that have been rotating a lot with the varsity that I haven't. We don't pick starters in June and July, so I had these kids, really going through and doing some of those things now. We're trying to figure out who is the starter, right? But so I've been splitting everything down the middle. They get a bunch of different reps. It's Tylen Williams was here last year. He got thrown into the fire as a freshman, and he battled through some things, and he's got a kind of a fresh start. We have Kevon Harper, who's going to be a senior. He's come in here and he's doing a good job, and then Luca Lombardo was here prior. So those three guys are really doing most of the work with the varsity. There's also an incoming freshman, Marco Green, who's very strong, who I could see as the year goes on, maybe pushing for time potentially. But they're all doing a good job picking up the offense, and we do a lot. So like, for me with the quarterback early in the summer, like it's never going to look the best because we do a lot scheme-wise, and until they're comfortable and until they can process reads and understand what we want, it's hard to look good throwing the ball when you're trying to process information. But they're starting to get it now. You're starting to see it now. Like the last practice or two, you're starting to see some guys make some big plays and get excited that they're doing it right. And that's the fun part about building a program.
And the running backs?
Yeah, a couple good guys there. We have Elijah Davidson was here already. He's really strong. Xavier Williams was a running back here last year. He was a freshman that played some varsity, and he's up there.
I saw him play, yes.
Yeah. Jaden Beauchamp's another running back. We have a couple freshmen that are phenomenal running backs that I think it wouldn't shock me if they ended up at the varsity at some point. I don't want to put that on those kids when they first start. Like, you want them to be fun and play freshman football with your friends. But as the year goes on, I can see, like, we have Achilles DuPont. We have Dazier. Is another guy that I think could come up and play potentially. There's a couple others actually, but like I think we're pretty solid there.
What's the strength of your team right now? What do you see as Paramus Catholic's strength right now today? I know it's middle of July. There's a lot to go before your first game in September. But as you look at it now, and you're sitting there and you're looking at it, it can change. I know. But what's your strength right now?
And it's hard to tell because we don't have pads, right? But like I think our strength, I think it's going to be up front. I think our guys are pretty big and physical up there, and I think that's going to be our strength. Now, could some other groups like make a move as we get pads on? It's like, yeah, for sure. I could be wrong, right? Because we're so early, but just over the years, I think they're a very solid group. I expect a lot out of them, and I would say they're the group that I would say is a strength right now.
Well, I couldn't go without asking you the article in the paper. People are talking about it. The young lady that came here that wants to play football. Can you talk just a little bit about her development, how she's doing?
Yeah, she's doing great. She's worked with the rest of the team, and in all honesty, there's nothing different in coaching her. I coached Jess Molina when I was in Westwood. People would ask what was it like. It was the same as coaching everybody else, They come to practice and they work hard, and she's been doing great, Yeah,
but I remember I was in town, Washington Township, and they said, read this. I looked at it and I go, wow, that's fantastic. One of these days, there's going to be a young lady who's going to be out there with a wide receiver, running back, quarterback. I mean, they have some of them have a great athletic ability. It's going to happen one of these days.
Yeah, and football is so popular now, and people are trying to get into it. So, it is what it is. They come out, we treat them like anybody on the team. They all get the same exact thing. We all do the same practice schedule, the same meetings, same lifts, same reps. There's nothing different. And she's been doing really well.
How's the schedule now? Your regular schedule, not
when we open up.
Yeah.
So
you're not traveling far away, are you?
No, we're actually preseason. We're playing St. Francis. Is one of the best teams in the country. They're coming here.
Was that Gabe Infante's team?
No.
What was that one in Philadelphia?
Oh, St. Joe's Prep.
That's
our freshmen are playing them.
Yeah.
So we set up the scrimmage schedule. So we're doing that.
Where are you playing that game?
St. Francis is here.
It's here?
Yeah. So that'll be a great test because you're going to see national recruits. And, I think for us, people are like, oh, are you ready for that? It's like, well, you want to play big-time football. This is it. Like, let's go play and let's see where you measure up, and you can send it to schools.
Do you know the date for that? Because I didn't have it.
I want to say it's the 19th, I want to say.
Got to make sure I have nothing to do that day.
I'll get it to you, and it'll be fun. I mean, I'm sure always with the scrimmages, you're going to have some struggles. I mean, no matter how, even our teams that won the states, we had some scrimmages where all the coaches were looking at each other after, like, what just happened? We got a lot to get better at. And I think every coach forgets, like, you don't pick up where you left off the year before. Like, you start over and you make the same mistakes that you're correcting, and everyone panics all the time, but it's just scrimmage one. And you're going to have things that you gotta improve and get better at. And we're ready for that. Our staff's pretty experienced with that.
Yeah, so you've been here through the winter time to February, March, the lifting, and now the kids coming out in their shorts, running around. You're getting a pretty good feel for the team.
Yeah.
You feel pretty good about this team, where they are right now.
Yeah, they've come a long way. I mean, when I first got here, just getting the kids in the weight room together was a challenge. Getting people to realize that, like, there's a certain way to do things and a certain way to win. And I think anytime you come to any program, there's going to be some of that because they're learning what you want as a new coach. And I think here, I demand a lot, so I think there was probably a bigger culture shift potentially than when they were used to. And at first they fought me on it, right? But now it's like, now they're starting to see it. They're getting better. They've been around the staff more. They've been around our strength staff, and they're on all the meetings now. So it's all kind of coming together. Like, hey, there's a reason why we do this. And in year one, a lot of kids don't see that everywhere, not just here. I mean, my first year at Highlands, there was a kind of some, hey, do we really have to be here all this time? Like, do we really have to be at this meeting and this lift? And then once they get a taste of, oh, this is working and I'm getting better, now they buy in. And now so I think we're just hitting that stride now. And it's still the summer, but it's so funny. You feel like you're behind, but it's July.
They call that changing the culture, getting them into the winning culture, getting them an idea that we are going to have a winning program, and you got to buy into it. Eventually, they see some success, and they say, I'm in with you, coach, I'm coming. The winning breeds winning, so look at it that way. I want to thank you. I know you were busy, you were working, you come running here, you'll probably be here till later tonight. When I'm ready to go to bed, you still be running around with your coaches here. I want to thank you. We will be here for guaranteed on October 21st. It's a long way off. You play Don Bosco.
Okay.
We'll be here. It's the meatball game. I'll be talking to you well before that, and we'll cover some of the games. We're watching you. It's great to see you back here at Paramus Catholic. We wish you the best, and look forward to covering many, many, many more of your games in the future.
Thank you. Hope to see you here.
Thank you. Yeah. That's Greg Russo. He's the head football coach here at Paramus Catholic.
We're here at Bergen Catholic with the head coach, Vito Campanile, a very close friend of ours for WCTV. Hello, Vito. You're out there already starting practice, and around the corner, a couple of big games, one being in Maryland, I guess, one home, right? And
yeah, against North Carolina state champ. Yep,
how good are they? Yeah.
Well, they're state champs, so they're pretty good.
Champ, they should be very good. But what I'm really interested is the second game, the one that you go to Arizona.
Yeah. Well, John, to be honest with you, we're just happy to be back out here, and we're closing in on just 33 more days until we get back out here. And we're excited. You know, our first game is going to be the first August football game ever played at Bergen Catholic, so that means a lot to us. Cardinal Gibbons is a great football team. They won 4A state championship down in North Carolina last year. They got quarterback and their tailback coming back. They're a great football team. And, you know, the second one, a lot of people are talking about, but we're really, at this point, just trying to take it one day at a time and making sure we improve every single day so we're prepared for the schedule that comes at us.
You know, I'd love to do a little research on that, because to me, if something like that starts up, I mean, imagine you get a couple of different places around the country and you're able to bring people in, you're able to make money, and it creates a completely different atmosphere out there.
Yeah, I think our environment here in the league is a great one. You know, I mean, you get some raucous crowds, you get some great environments to play in, but just having that national schedule is also something. A lot of the kids pride themselves on that and having that opportunity. You know, we always say that you'll play at least one national level trip throughout your career here at Bergen Catholic, and with the exception of the hurricane season that we got knocked out from St. Thomas Aquinas and couldn't go to Florida, every kid over the last 13 years now has been able to play on one of these national trips.
All right, so let's begin by starting about your schedule. Let's go through some of the teams. We talked about the first two teams quickly.
Sure.
Now you come in, you get a bye the third week, I believe.
We do not. No, we go right into the schedule this year, which is something that I worry about. So we go right to Del Barton, who honestly played us with the closest score that we had last year at 28-19. So they play us great. You know, they're a really well-coached team. Brian does an amazing job. And then Seton Hall Prep, that was another nail-biter game for us. They're week 4, and then right after that we go Don Bosco Prep, and then DePaul. So it's definitely going to be an interesting September. There's no off weeks in this league, as we know.
As they say, you got to go week to week and keep everybody healthy. That's the key. But I like that Don Bosco. Again, you played last year where you beat them at the MetLife Stadium. I always say MetLife Stadium because I worked for Met a long time ago. Yeah. My God, it is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And that was a great football game. And they're a team that got a lot of big guys, a lot of big
Yeah,
offensive
their
line.
size, I mean, their physicality definitely stands out. They definitely have quite a bit of great players on their defense and offensive line, and they're structured to have a great team this year, as is the rest of the league. I really have learned over the years, 7 straight years being in this conference, that anybody can beat anybody. So we don't have one guy circled. We got to play week in, week out, and our out-of-state schedule is as good as any in the country, so we got to just come out and play football.
Because I know, looking at their roster, I mean, they got a great offensive line, defensive line. I mean, in that game, and we were at St. Joe's, we watched that football game. My God, the way they blocked, and then they quarterback, and they had that one running back who, to me,
St. Joe's? Yeah, well, St. Joe's has quite a few.
yes, but no, I'm saying Don Bosco.
Oh, Don Bosco, yeah, sure.
They're, they look improved, but. So that's those games. Now you're moving into the middle of the season. You still got to play St. Peter's.
We do. I mean, having a bye week and then going into St. Joe's, definitely, that's always as physical of a game as you're going to see. And then, Peter's after that, and Paramus Catholic to finish. So absolutely. I mean, we know what it entails. You just really have to come out and have a structure every week and game plan to the best of your ability and keep the kids in the right frame of mind.
Sure, you're not going to have weeks off, and you're playing people that can play. I mean, all these games. I mean, there's no games you can say, well, you know what, today Bergen Catholic is going to win by 45 points.
No, that doesn't exist anymore, right?
It's going to be close games. You're going to have to play. You're going to have to. Everybody's going to execute, both teams. A team that executes better will win the game.
100%. I think it's just, doing a lot of the same things we did last year. And, our conditioning is critical. I think that the stat that always jumps out to me about our team from last season, we outscored our opponents 195-20 in the second half. And I put a lot of that on conditioning, a lot of mindset, and the way that the guys approached the game week to week, and kind of knew it was going to be a lot like a heavyweight boxing match, right? And you're going to have to finish the fight, and we did a really good job of that. And we take a lot of pride in our conditioning and our mental structure here, and hopefully we continue to be consistent with that.
Now, what I like about your family too, every one of you is in coaching. I mean, how many groups out there? Usually there's one or two that goes on its way, but
right.
You have every one of you.
Yeah, it's just kind of fell that way. I think everybody's, at different levels. Anthony in the NFL, Nuns at the NCAA, and then me and Nick here in high school. So it's worked out. And over the years, some of us, as you know, me and Nick coached together at Westwood, and Anthony and Nuns coached together for a good while at Don Bosco and had an elite run there. So it's been good. But obviously, and my father being here coaching the freshmen now has been a great advantage for us. He has an incredible amount of experience in doing this.
All right, so let's talk about your staff. You lost a couple of people. You lost your starting quarterback to
right.
Angeli to Notre Dame. How's he doing there?
He's doing excellent. He's out there right now. So he did early graduation. So he left here, Bergen Catholic, in January. Was able to go to spring ball, as was Jaden Bellamy, who's out there as well. So they're doing a great job. They're halfway through their summer school classes. So the great part of that is they're already a semester through their college experience, and they have 15 credits to their name. Doing a lot more this summer, and really just fighting to make the travel squad. And obviously Notre Dame being a top 5 team in the country year in, year out. We couldn't be more proud of those guys, what they've given to us, and what they will continue to mean to this program and the Notre Dame program now in the future.
So what are you looking at as far as your starting team?
Sure, I think Jack Duffy stepped in and done a great job. I think Dominic's added great depth there. I think we're in a good position at the quarterback spot, and Saeed St. Fleur, who's a Delaware commit, and was probably the MVP of the state championship game last year, is back at running back, and Christian Carty is a Columbia commit, and Logan Casey I think is probably the fastest guy in the conference, and then Richie Reed comes back, who has a lot of playing experience at wideout, and we have a sophomore at Quincy Porter that's already has 5 Power 5 Division I offers out of New Milford. He's only going to be a 10th grader. We expect great things of him, and Jack Camo, our tight end, is a Princeton commit. So, and up front, we have 2 guys returning in Sean Woods and Dylan Garrity. But, Nair Daniels is a 6'8", 335-pound guy. And Marcus Linder and Owen Fernandez are doing a great job on the front. And then defensively, I think has really been where our stalwarts have stood out. Obviously, DJ Samuels being back and Sydir Mitchell, those guys are both Power 5 commits to Maryland and Texas. And Elijah Kinsler would be a great player. And then Malachi Mercer, who's all North Jersey middle linebacker last year, is back. And we feel like we have great depth, and Daquan Stewart, another Division I player in secondary, Cod Sanders, Chris Mimo. We really have a great group, and then we have a couple young guys we feel great about in Parrish and Parati. Yeah.
So if you're out there, you're a young player, come to Bergen Catholic, listen to this stuff.
No, I think that we put out, really for us, nobody's going to feel sorry for us, right? We've graduated some great players,
right.
and Ryan Butler leaving here, Jaden Gould, Stevie, and Jaden, and Dominic, and all those guys. But at the same time, I think it's more of a process. As there's guys that have been here working day in, day out that are going to get their opportunity now, and everybody here has a different path and a different role, and roles change throughout the season. So we feel great about the depth that we have. I think this is probably the deepest football team we've had here, but it's also a lot of inexperience at some key positions, and how those guys develop and mature throughout the season is going to be critical.
It sounds like a great place to be, a great place to play, and success is all over the place, and you have at all levels, which is the key in football. You got to have sophomore, juniors, seniors that infiltrate
I mean,
your program.
our freshman program has really been in a great position. We've only lost one freshman football game over the last 4 years, and I think that if we can continue, we feel like we have as good of a group coming in here this year in the class of 2026 that we've had at any. So we really feel excited about our future. I don't think that we're going to be an easy team to beat, and I think we just have to continue to be consistent and approach every game week to week.
You know what? If you're listening to this unbelievable. You have a fantastic group of kids. You have great coaches.
We
you
do.
have the whole mix, starting with you. We know you for many years.
Right. Now, we have a great dedicated staff here. I mean, Tony DeBellis has been here for almost 35 years now, a defense coordinator, and really put out one of the best defenses in the history of North Jersey last year. George Jaquette and Brendan McGovern in the secondary, Billy Straub, who's former Westwood head coach that you guys know well, and Darnell Carter's really positioned with a great defensive line, and Anthony Fusco and Phil Fusco have been part of the staff for over 15 years now. So then offensively, we bring back our entire staff. Ron Carty, who's been here since the beginning with Nuns, and Joey Miraglia, who's was a great player. Carl Seitz, who played for me at Westwood. So we feel great about it. And then Frankie Feaster, who's also a Washington Township resident, right? So was a great player here at Bergen Catholic. So we feel like we have a good staff, and we're positioned to really put the guys in the best position possible to be successful. But we're excited for the challenges. I mean, we got to continue to be the hunter instead of the hunted, and keep coming out every week and just keeping focused on the prize.
No, and listening to you, watching the games, being around you and the team, this is a fantastic place to come. You got great program and tremendous coaching. You start with coaching, the players will come.
Yeah. Well, we feel like we got a great football environment, right?
Yes.
I mean, football is like so important to the people of Bergen Catholic, so important to the students. I mean, the game day here on a Saturday, I like to think it's as good of a high school game day experience as you're going to find anywhere in America. And, we take a lot of pride in what we do. And this place from 10 o'clock until the last play of the game is standing room only. And we love the environment that our guys get to play in. And we couldn't do it without the passion of everybody that loves Bergen Catholic.
Good luck to you.
Thanks.
Say hello to your whole family.
For sure. We'll see you guys during the
Absolutely.
season.
I'm going to even shake your hand. Yeah. With mics and all. Thank
right.
you again for a beautiful job, and good luck.
Thank
we'll
you.
see you during the season. Thank
For
you
sure.
again.
Well, we're continuing with our talking to coaches, high school football coaches in Bergen County on our preview show. We're very happy to have Coach Adam Baeira here in Ramsey, almost said Westwood again. We're in front of a beautiful facility that I remember last year coming up here talking to you, Coach. They were just breaking ground, and it looks like it's just about finished. Maybe we'll get in there. You and I will take a walk around there. But talk just a little bit about that facility before we get into your team.
Yeah, so that's going to be our new wellness center. We're going to have a cardio on the left, I believe. They just finished the floor. They just finished all the the outline of it. But it's going to be beautiful. I mean, I've been up there, and it's pretty impressive what they did here, what they're doing here, continue to doing here with the entire district really. putting that together, new locker rooms, team rooms. I mean, it's just tremendous, adding additions to every school in the district. I mean, they really they did an amazing job. So.
And you told me also, which is near and dear to my heart, the press box is going to be changed eventually. Maybe not this year, but by next year, your press box, which we've been in a number of times, which is a nice press box as it sits right now, it's going to be torn down. You're going to put up a brand new press box, huh?
Yeah. Oh no, that's going to be next year's project, I believe. So it's an exciting time here in Ramsey. So.
Well, you got a quality situation here with your new buildings and press box, and you also have quality on the field where we're standing now. Your team has done very well. You've coached brilliantly the time that you've been here. Let's talk a little bit about your team so people get an idea of who's playing, who to look for when they come here. Everything starts up front with the offense and defensive line. Talk a little bit about your offensive line.
Yeah, we're still trying to put the pieces together, and that's what the summer's for. But again, we have a great group of guys. We have our line coach, Coach Greg Samers, doing a tremendous job. I mean, he's happy with what he sees. He's got about 10, 11 guys that are kind of competing for positions. So that's, you don't see that quite often. In high school football, if we can kind of, have some guys go one way, especially up front, that could be huge. But, returning starters, we have guys with experience. Logan Bond started for us last year. He's about 6'5". 260, 270. He's getting some looks in college. He's going to be a junior. And the other starter back is Nicky Ferrara. Nicky Ferrara started for us as a sophomore, so he's going to be a senior. So he's going to be a 3-year starter guard for us. So we're glad to have him back. And there's other guys. I mean, we have Andrew Onegian, who's a big body, 6'3". 275, 280. I mean, he's been working hard all summer, going to these camps and, getting himself on the map, exposure. He's another kid looking to play at the next level. Going to be a junior also. We have Joe Starr, our center. Joe's going to be a senior, another guy who really, kind of had a great offseason. I mean, all these guys really, they put in the work, and, I'm so glad to have them back, and, they're excited, and we have Brandon Alcia. Brandon's senior captain. He's going to try to fit in the left guard position, and he's also returning starter on the defensive line. He's actually the only one. Again, we lost a good group of guys last year, but I'm excited for these guys. A lot of young guys, and they're looking forward to the season. So.
I remember last year we did the your game. If I'm not mistaken, it was the opening game of the year. You played Westwood, and what impressed me, and I was talking to John and a few other people after that game, was the physicality that you brought to that game. You were very, very physical. You bring that again with these young people up front on the offense and defensive line? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, that's the name of the game, up front. I mean, without those guys, you need those guys to move the ball. So, they don't get their names in the paper. It's a very thankless job, but they're probably the hardest workers, hardest working unit on the team, just because they do a lot of the work. The lifting and just it's time with Coach Sam on the board, and putting the offense in, and there's a lot of guys in there, a lot of new faces. So we hope to bring that physicality again this year, and make that a staple for Ramsey football.
Talk a little bit about that defense. You had a very good defense last year. Some of the kids are coming back, so I think you're going to be right now you must be very happy with your defense.
Yeah, no, our defense is, again, we have a good group of athletes coming back from last season. We have Dylan Kelly coming back. Dylan was a returning free safety for us. He's going to be a senior. He's a captain. He's having a tremendous summer with the 7-ons and the competitions that we've had so far. Inside linebackers, I think we returned 2. We returned Sean Halley, another captain, who's a senior, 3-sport athlete. He's probably one of the only 3-sport athletes on the team, maybe in the school. So we're glad to have him back. And Luca Gemma. Luca's going to be a junior. He's actually a captain, the only junior captain for us. And he's looking to play at the next level. He had a great year for us as a sophomore. He's coming back with some experience, which is good.
You had a great group of skilled players last year. Talk a little about the skilled players coming back: quarterback, running back, wide receivers, things like that.
We also have Joey Liss. Joey Liss was our starting secondary. He actually just committed to Navy. So he's our defensive back coming back, and he's also our running back. So having Joey in the backfield along with Luca, those are our guys last year. To have those two guys back is it's really a blessing, because they are impressive. Athleticism, and two guys that I think are going to do well at the next level. And hopefully, they're looking to have a great season this year. So those two guys, Joey List and Luca Gemma, our quarterback, I should say. Our quarterback is senior, first-year starter. He was our backup last year. Is Robert Fierst. Robert has had a awesome summer. Really, Coach Jeremy Taylor, a Westwood alum. He's our quarterback's coach, and the job he's done with him in this short time is unbelievable. We had Danny Vintra last year, and now we have Robert Fierst. So hopefully he learned a lot from Danny and Coach Taylor, and now it's his turn. We're excited to have him, and he's doing a great job so far, taking control of the offense. And we have two receivers that are back from last year. We have Noah Larino. Noah just committed actually to lacrosse. He's going to Haverford on a full scholarship there. So it's good for him to have that for next year. And Timmy Myers, Timmy's a senior. Timmy's again another guy that wants to play in college football, and he's been through a lot of camps all summer, working hard, and we're expecting big things from him too. So.
Well, now it's almost the end of July. 7-on-7s are going on. You're working very hard. Within a week or two, we start getting into August. Are you happy where your team is now? Are you satisfied where you are right now with this team?
Well, you can never be too satisfied, but
every coach is answered the same way.
Yeah, but up to this point, what is it? July 23rd, 22nd, 23rd. Up to this point, we've pretty much put in the base stuff on both sides of the ball. Next week we're gonna have a little mini camp session, and then the guys are off for about 10 days, and then we come back in August, and it's when we put our shoulder pads on and and see what who can do, and a couple scrimmages lined up, and we'll put the pieces into place, and we'll be ready for our first game against Pascack Valley. So.
You mentioned just now that you guys have 10 days off. You have to have a 10-day blackout. Every school team has to do it. Most teams do it just before July 4th, but you're doing it next week. You find that more advantageous to give a break then, just before you start your scrimmaging?
I think it's we gave them off the 4th of July week. A lot of you hear everyone's got different opinions with the summer and what how often kids should be off of family time and whatnot, and I think that's important. You can never it's a different time than it was back then. I think we had our captain's practices, and I went to Fairlawn, so I think we had about 2-3 weeks to prepare for our first game, and now here it's a different story. You're looking at 6-7 weeks, all of July, all of August. So giving them that time off, I think is important. Keeps them hungry, keeps the numbers up. A lot of kids might shy away from football just because it's just so much work, and you're in the heat of summer, and so I think that's important for them to enjoy family time, and
it's a long time. If you play and everything's successful, you could play through Thanksgiving, maybe the first week of December. That's a long way off. It's much colder. It's like 60 degrees colder then than it is right now. So it's a long way off. Just before we go, your schedule. It's always a daunting schedule. Talk about some of the teams you're going to face here at this beautiful facility and on the road.
Well, we open up against Pascack Valley, so that's on the road over there, and they got Coach Cusimano does a great job. We had a great game with them last year. It's how we ended our regular season on this field. So they're always physical. They're always going to bring it. They're well coached. So we're looking forward to that first game. We play Westwood here. Okay, that's going to be a big one on the 30th, I believe, of September. So I'm sure it's going to be a great crowd. I'm sure you guys will be here in attendance. So we're looking forward to that one. We go up to Newton. That's going to be a little bit of a drive, but Newton's just a great program. Coach Perzara's done a tremendous job with that program over the last couple of years. So we know that's going to be a test. We get the Mawas, Richfield Parks. Those are always good ones, and we're just hoping to go 1-0 every week, and that's the motto. So
it's a challenge every week that you have to play. There's always tough games you're facing outstanding coaches. Everyone says the same thing. So I want to thank you. But before we go, I can't go without asking you one question. You pointed to that watch for the date. You were talking so much about that watch before I interviewed you. It's like you won the lottery. Tell me, why is that so important, that watch?
I just got it the other day. Actually, I ordered on Amazon. So you know, I see everyone wearing it. The kids wear it. You know, my family wears it. So I said, you know, let me jump on a bandwagon. Let me get one of these things and join the group. So
Have you figured out how to work?
nah, not yet. Just the time. You know, tells me how stressed I am. So you know, I'm sure in September, October this fall that thing tell me how stressed. You know, it'll go up. So, but other than that, it's a pretty neat watch. And you guys kind of like yours. So,
That might tells me how many steps I take and how far I haven't gone and what I should do. Yeah. I want to thank you for giving us your time. Thank you so very much. We'll try to be almost certain we'll be here for the Westwood game here on the 30th of September. It's always great coming here. I'm standing on the field. And Lou Molino, John and I have wonderful thoughts about him. He was a fantastic gentleman, great AD. We think about him quite a bit, especially when we come up here. So it's always fun to come up here. We're treated like family, and you have continued that tradition here at Ramsey. So thank you very much, Coach, and good luck, and we'll see you in September, and might see you a few more times after that.
You got it. Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
This is the weight room that we're talking about. Yeah, this is what it looks like here. The whole area is going to be weight room.
Yeah, it's a matter of where the truck is.
And you got a nice view looking outside. You could have, I guess you could have people up here to watch the game.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how you're going to do it. Have special guests come up here, or open to the general public. That's going to be up to you. But this is come up here, especially in November and December. You come up here and watch a game. Yeah, it's like having PSO seats. Yeah. This is wonderful to me.
Great deal.
They did a great job. Great job. And then back here, the room back here that you have in the back that we're looking at, what was that going to be for?
Those are all classrooms. So I have 3 classrooms there, 2 trapping walls. So I think it's one big layout, one big room, or 3.
Will there be gym classes, like hygiene classes
I
there?
want to say like health classes, probably.
I call it hygiene.
Driver's ed, maybe.
Yeah, okay, things like that, yeah. This is, I remember coming up here almost a year ago with you. We did the interview a year ago, we did it out in front. And when we came in over here, we saw this being built, and it was just a hole in the ground and a couple of iron bars up. And then 1 year later, this is what it looks like. And you're about maybe you could be 4 or 5 weeks away from being completed.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, with the pandemic and the supply chain, you don't know. But all things being equal, I hope that when we come up here August, September 30th, we get a look at this and it's all done. That'd be nice to see it's all done here. And it's great. And the kids, when they see this, are going to be very impressed that they got something like this, and they're going to be proud of the high school.
If you can't be motivated to lift now, I mean, you'll never get motivated, you know.
You know, if John was here, he'd want to go over there and lift up 15, 20 pounds. Yeah, no, you come here. If you have the lifting program, you would have it in the morning, in the afternoon. How would you work?
Morning, probably in the morning.
Before classes start?
Yeah, it's like 7 a.m., 6:30 a.m.
I remember years ago when they had them, they were packed away someplace, a couple of barbells, and now it becomes important. Coaches tell me, and I think you might have mentioned it, you win your championships January and February in the weekend.
Absolutely. You know, that's the time. That's where you get. That's where you get paid.
Yeah, that's right. It all works out. You win here, but you start here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's great. So congratulations, and I'm looking forward to coming back in the end of September. That'd be 2 full months. 2 months and maybe a week. So maybe 10 weeks from now, let's see where you are here, and we'll shoot it again and put it back side by side. Before and the after. Thank you very much.
We'll be lifting partners. There you go.
What are we lifting? We're lifting the watches. It's about
right.
What time do you got?
I got 10:45.
I got 10:45 too.
Look at that.
Yeah. Okay. What's your heart rate?
Heart rate. I'm looking at
Mine is 87, and I did 3,300 steps already.
82.
And over here says I'm alive.
And I'm not stressed.
I did not. Thanks, Coach. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. We're continuing our talks with different coaches throughout northern New Jersey on our high school preview show. And today we're very happy to have the athletic director of Westwood, Danny Vivino, and we're more happy that we're doing it in his office where it's beautiful as opposed to being outside where it's 95 degrees. Danny, thank you very much for taking time to take a few minutes to talk to us. We always talk to you as the athletic director, but you wear another hat. You are a scheduler for the NJSIAA. Talk a little about what that is and what that entails.
Yeah, so it's really for two of the separate leagues, but it's definitely intertwined with the NJSA. So I do all the Big North schedules, and there's committees that, that we all do this on. I maybe put the final pieces together, help with the grid, and then I also do the Super Football Conference. That's a monumental task that dozens of people help with and are involved with. Basically, football is unique when we do that one. You get your divisions, which every 2 years changes. And that's based on enrollment, geography, and then we try to balance competitiveness. We don't want all the best teams in one division. And then based on, we look at that, and then teams send us requests. Nothing's guaranteed. So, for example, Riverdale is a bigger school than us. They're not in our division. We're always going to request each other. We want to play that Bird Bowl game. They're a local rival. I think everybody gets better that week, regardless of the result. And then, then it gets a little dicey with those last 2 or 3 games. You want this, but we need you to have that. And that's where we try to balance out people's schedules. So if you look at a team and maybe, they're going to struggle a little bit in their division, they're going to have some very winnable crossover games where they have, everybody's got a chance to win 5 games, 4 games and make the playoffs. For the other sports, it's a little more, cut and dry. You have your division, you're going to play them twice. That's going to make up about 75% of your schedule. We don't take requests, and then we assign crossovers throughout the Big North, which is over 40 teams. You'll probably get 1 non-public school, and then, competitive games. So if we're really strong in baseball like we were, we might, get Old Japan, Northern Highlands, Ramapo, whoever, and maybe a sport that we're, rebuilding in a little younger, we may get, some more competitive games on a different level. And then in those sports, you have the opportunity, coaches, to then add probably another 20% of your schedule through independence, which you don't really have in football. So that's why the football one gets put under a microscope, because it is what it is.
How many teams are we talking about now?
So in the Big North, it's 41 or 40, depending on the gender, because there's one more boys non-public school than girls. And you have to marry those together for facilities. So that's a whole nother element of, if my boys basketball's playing home, my girls have to play away, and then you have to try to get competitive crossovers for both. That makes sense. Football is 113 schools. It's literally basically anything north of Union County, all the way up, Morris, Sussex. We range across 7 counties now. Warren Hills is new to the league. They left the Big Central and wanted to join our league. They're a hike, but they were willing to do it. They'll be the ones taking 3 or 4 long trips. Other schools will get 1. But they have a couple local schools, Hackettstown, the teams they've been playing that make sense. And then from there, I mean, that's been the funnest part about the league is playing new people. And then we've taken it a step further, and this goes back to your NJSIAA point. To get to the group champ, which is going to happen this year, it was a long and arduous process, 6 years of fighting with other parts of the state. The South wants this, the Central wants this. People want to preserve Thanksgiving. We didn't want to start any earlier. We didn't want to end any later, for the integrity of the other sports, for kids having their summers. And it took a while to get to the sweet spot, and something good that came out of it. It went from fighting to really good professional relationships with the whole state. And we met down in Rutgers in January as we were finalizing our schedule for the next 2 years and said, why don't we play some games against each other? And the Super Football Conference has over 30 games that we booked with other leagues from the state. We're one of the examples. And then some of them thereafter were put at neutral sites or venues, which is pretty cool.
That's very good. So you have to, in putting this together, you got to know something about every school that's in the group. You got to understand what makes them up, how they tick. You really got to. You just don't show up and put A and B. You got to know them.
We joke. Me and a couple other football junkies, whether it's an AD or, and be honest, it's really every sport with doing the Big North schedules. And sometimes it's going to do homework. You go on NJ.com and you review people's seasons, and you'd be surprised, like, oh wow, this program's on the rise, better than I thought. But Friday nights we joke, we're just on different websites, getting all the scores. Oh, wow, look at this. And especially the first 3 weeks, you don't really know who's going to be what. You know what you hear people are going to be, what programs have consistently done well. But really, those first couple of weeks, you start seeing scores Friday nights and Saturdays, and it's like, wow, this team's, Caldwell's a great example of that. They were 1-9 3 years ago. Then they've always been a great program. Then they had a nice year, and then all of a sudden they're winning week after week, and then people are peeking at film and saying, hey, they're legit, they're a real team. So it's you got to pay attention though to everybody, because at the end of the day, you have to make sure that every team in the league has a chance to
How
win.
many hours you put into it? How many man hours goes into it?
It's
Well, when do you start?
So realistically, like we're in year 1 this year, so there's not going to be anything to do. All we have to do this year is flip the home and away dates. So going into the 23 season, we will create new divisions probably the spring before that. So April or May, we'll say these are going to be the divisions for 24, 25, and that'll be based on the classifications that are out now. Then in the season, we'll tell coaches, start paying attention. Your division now. Who do you want to play? And we'll send a request form out probably in the September, October range. It'll be due end of October, before the playoffs, right around there. Then we start to really build all that. Now there's approval levels, like the divisions all get voted on and approved by the league before we start the other part. But then the real is where the sleeves have to be rolled up is. And then I got to work individually with non-publics or any school that wants a week off because they want to play out of state or they want to go play somebody else. And you have all these different holes where, 113 is the number, which is odd. So somebody's out, but who has a bye? Who's going out of state? And then you might encourage someone, can you take off this week instead of that? Because then you do the math first. You get it to an even place, and then you start putting the games in. When it comes to selecting the games, again, that's committee based. We go through all that. Certainly there's a lot of people who make suggestions, and we use the forms, and we have a whole spreadsheet of what's a mutual game. So if we both pick it, we really try to get that on. But then you get one-way requests where, I might say, hey, we want to go play Lakeland. And the game makes sense. Good game on paper. And Lakeland might say, we want to play Newton. And you got to just try to get everyone a little bit of something, and then everyone might get a game they didn't pick. And that's part of it. And then sometimes there's games that nobody picked where we really need to balance something out and the puzzle doesn't work that week. I think a good example of that is Ramsey Newton. It's a great game, it's far, but everybody's got a game or two like that. But it's a really good game, and they've both done well in their areas. They're in the same group. So those games kind of happen too. But it's the timing is the hardest part because you have Bergen Catholic waiting on, well, if we play an Arizona team, it's week 1, but if that doesn't work, we're going to go to North Carolina week 2. But they're going to need a game in whatever week they leave open. So that, that's where a lot of moving parts.
You have a problem with teams who wanting to drop out, like I don't want to play here, I want to move, I don't want to play this team.
So the league has a mechanism for that.
You have that?
You can drop any game with mutual agreement, even a division game. And that was a provision that was written in about 4 years ago. We're actually doing that this year. I've already had some people say. So, Dumont and Tenafly did a great job in the Ivy League that the league made, which was really for programs that were struggling to develop, build their numbers back up, and then get back into the mainstream. So that's a separate division within our league. There's 16 or 14 teams in it. They only play each other. They're not eligible for the NJSIAA playoffs, but they have their own playoffs, and it's a great way for them to rebuild, but not impact the integrity.
And that's the Ivy League, so people understand.
Yeah, that's part of the Super Football Conference, the Ivy League. And it's to let them get what they need to do, but without impacting the integrity of the state playoffs. Somebody's going to go 7-0 in there. I think Tenafly did or Dumont did last year. They can't make the playoffs over a 4-3 team that's playing a grinder schedule. So, like Dumont and Tenafly kind of graduated out of there. They both ended up in our division.
Excuse me, how do you graduate out of there?
Well, every 2 years you have to reapply. And there's a whole committee that picks. We had multiple applicants this year, and we through our process decided these teams are in need right now. These teams, should go back into the mainstream.
Okay.
So basically, we understand that you're going from one thing to the other. We want to make it subtle. We want the programs to do well. We want them to stay in the mainstream. That's the whole point of it. So we're not playing Tenafly, and Ramsey's not playing Dumont, and that's really where the Ramsey Newton game comes from and the Westwood Shore game comes from. And I think, and they'll get comparable games in place of that as well. I think one of them's playing Glenridge, who also left the Ivy. Those are the type of things we want. But at the same time, if they're going to win 5 games now and make the playoffs, they're going to earn it, which is a good thing too. So there's a lot of, it sounds quirky, but at the end of the day, if people feel like, all right, we know the outcome of 1 or 2 games in a division, we're not going to win the division this year. We don't need to play this game. Are you comfortable? That's when people will utilize the drop.
What about feedback? Say a coach down south is upset about something. How does that filter through to get to you guys?
It depends. Depends how aggressive the coach is. Sometimes on my cell phone, and I, get some choice words. And listen, every cycle, there's 5 to 10 guys scratching their head. Why'd I get this? There's another 5 to 10 irate, and then there's 5, 10. Thank you. This is perfect. This, and it's not a pick and choosing. It's just it's a numbers game. And at the end of the day, 2 years ago, going into last season with COVID, we had to schedule each year. We had to keep changing it. One of the schools that was the most upset about things won it all, and they won the extra game. So, and they'll retreat and say, hey, you guys know what you're doing. It's never perfect. And the elephant in the room, too, a misplaced or poorly timed injury could make something look better or worse than it is. You catch a team without their best player, you're winning games maybe you wouldn't. You play a tough part of your schedule when you're missing some of the better guys, you could lose games. You can't, But we try to just, if you look at our season last year, we want to play a toss-up almost every game. You're going to have a game where you play great and pull away, and you're going to have a game where someone does that to you. But I could tell you almost every game last year you went into not knowing what the result was going to be. And I think the scores told you that too. I mean, I think by and large we're happy with the outcomes, but you went into how many games? It's going to be a good game,
That's the best, though. That's what you want. You don't want one team getting blowouts. You want to get these scheduled properly, and it's better.
To switch gears even from football, that's why we changed the Big North model. The Big North used to, this division automatically crossed over with this division. We've moved away from that too. We want kids to compete, period. We want coaches to compete. We want kids to compete. It's easier than it's been in the past to make the playoffs in every sport. So I'd rather be 9-9 in basketball, baseball, whatever it may be, and know we're prepared, as opposed to playing a soft schedule. You're 15-4, but who'd you really play? Who'd you really beat? So that's happened in every sport, which is, I think, a really good thing.
Let's try to wrap this up. Westwood is traveling to Rutgers. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. We've been here a long time. Is this the farthest Westwood football team has ever traveled?
That's a good, in my tenure, definitely, yeah. But that's a good question. Probably not. There was probably a scrimmage at some point that George DeGrandi or somebody probably had a friend down south or something. But talk
a little bit about how you got.
Yeah. So like I said, in January we met at Rutgers with all 5 leagues and conferences about getting some games. Wayne Valley, Lenape, I think Montclair, Rancocas Valley. You talk about travel. Like some of these are really southwest. Shore's actually pretty close compared to some of these games. They're 2-year deals too, so it's a full cycle. So this happens to be our away game. Next year, Shore's going to come up here. That is Labor Day weekend, so we'll play Thursday night just to.
This is your home game with Shore or away game?
This year's an away game.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the Rutgers thing developed after. We just happened to meet at Rutgers. So once all that happened, then I know they have the Battle of the Bridge. We throw our hat in the ring. You don't know what's going to happen. You try. You make. Pull every favor, make every phone call you can. We were fortunate too. Originally, we were Saturday, and then there was an issue with another game, and so we're opening the event, which is nice. It's a nice way to start the season. And listen, it's not just about football. The cheerleaders are going to get a great day. The band's going to get to play in a Big Ten stadium. Cheerleaders get to perform in a Big Ten stadium. And it's a cool community thing, And we're playing a team. It's funny. I was just looking, and I knew the numbers. So the last 10 years, Shore's 78-35 in their respective, and they're a Group 2 that sometimes falls to Group 1, where we're a medium to small Group 2. And Westwood 79-32, almost identical records. We each have 2 titles in that time frame. So this is, 2 very parallel, similar programs in different worlds in the state. Just, hey, let's go play a good game. Let's play somebody new.
I see the football players not on the field here. I see them in town, see them walking around. They're juiced about this game. They can't wait to play. I think this is fantastic for these these football players who can go to Rutgers and play. It's like an away game. It's something that's big to them. And like you said, you're at Rutgers, Big Ten, big schools come in, the biggest stadium. It really is something that's really good. And I'm happy Westwood's going down here. So it should be a great game. Going to have a lot of people there. Be great. Be great.
Dan, when we went back in my years, 1960, Cliffside Park used to play Hackensack, and used to 80-0. You know,
Yep.
Billy Harris would score a 6-7 touchdown. Guys would all be hurting. The next day, you didn't have enough people to practice, and to me, that was ridiculous. This is so fantastic. You guys should be honored the job you guys are doing.
No, I appreciate it, and that's certainly a big part of it. With, about 8 years ago, when football was under attack a little bit, when you had all the concussion stuff coming out. I mean, the biggest thing is the safety changes that have been made. They barely hit in practice anymore. Winning programs, this isn't like, oh, you're not going to be tough. You teach form, you teach techniques, and then, you minimize the hard contact, and you go from there.
Well, I want to thank you. You gave us a lot of information. I'm happy with how you presented it. Now people who are watching football understand how these games are scheduled. It takes a lot of work. And what people have to understand is that you put a lot of effort into putting the schedule together. It's a monumental task. You're also an administrator here. You're an athletic director. You're head of hygiene. Did I miss anything else? They got you.
Well, no, I get health and phys ed with the nurses with them, but yeah. And listen, we have a great team here, and you find the time and the hours to do it.
Long hours here. I'm amazed how much you put in, all the ADs put in, and to put this schedule together takes a lot of time. It's a labor of love. I know you love doing it, but still it's a lot of love and a lot of work. And I'm very happy that Westwood is going down to Rutgers. We're going to try to get down there and do maybe a post-game show.
I thought we were guaranteed cannolis down there. No good?
We're gonna have to have a. We'll let you know. We're gonna have a cannoli bowl here.
Okay.
And we'll have a lot of fun with that.
Make meatballs.
We'll make a meatball.
There you go. We in about, I'd say, a week or two, we should have a lot of information about advanced ticket purchases, what time the gates open, things of that nature. We'll make sure we get out to the community.
Thank you for taking time. We always like coming here, talking to you. You always very helpful to us in doing all the football games we cover here. This is our home. This is our home school. We cover all the home games. Take away game too, and you're right there, always asking, what do you need? What can I do for you? Thank you very much. You're responsible for a large part in having these games on the air.
No, listen, it's my pleasure. I'm honored to have two Westwood Athletic Hall of Famers in my office.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
three. Sorry. My apologies.
That's right. We're there.
Yeah.
Ahead of us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that honor. We appreciate it.
You got it.
Danny Vivino, the athletic director at Westwood. Thank you very much, Danny.
Thank you.
Well, we're up here at Don Bosco Prep, continuing our show, high school preview football. And we're here with an old friend of WCTV, the head football coach, Dan Sabella. And Coach Sabella, thank you very much for taking time in this cool, beautiful day here up at Ramsey. It's warm, huh?
Yeah. No, pleasure to be here. Excited for another season right around the corner, and we picked a nice humid morning to do this.
I know we got here a little early. We saw the kids doing their sprints and warming up. I want to talk a little about your team. I think when I look at your team, the first thing I look at is your offensive line, how strong it is. Talk a little bit about that offensive line.
Well, we've definitely got a lot of experience back there. We returned all 5 starters that we finished with last season, as well as our 6th and 7th guys who are solid backups as well. So we have some depth up there. Obviously, we've got some guys who've been starting 3, even 2 guys, Chris Moreno and Chase, have been 4-year starters. So yeah, we're definitely feeling good about those guys and a good supporting cast in the combo and the skill players as well. So definitely looking forward to it.
You have a very special player at the tackle position. We saw him here against St. Joe's. Talk a little bit about him.
Yeah, so Chase Basantis, he actually made his verbal commitment yesterday to Texas A&M University. He's a highly recruited kid who, since the day he walked in the door his freshman year at Don Bosco, has been one of the hardest workers you've ever been around, just determined to always want to get better, competes in everything he does, weight room, meetings, practice, all right, just a focused kid who's played at an extremely high level all 3 years, continues to get better, and has definitely got a chance to really dominate and be a serious force.
You know, you and I were talking last week, and I made a comment to you. We were here, John, I don't think Ida was here, but we were here, and we saw you play St. Joe's, and I never saw a tackle dominate the running game. I don't want to say game, I don't go that far, but the running game like he did. He was blocking for your running back. It was Heath, and just like it was, they couldn't stop it. You had that all day, right?
Yeah, he like I said, he's gotten better every year, and he makes everybody around him better too. And when you got a guy like him blowing open some of the holes that you talked about and pass protecting, it certainly makes you a lot more productive offensively.
So before we get into the skill positions, let's talk a little about defense, because defense really wins games. You know, the offense scores the points, but those defense sets the tone. Talk about that defense, your line, your linebackers, and your safeties.
Yeah, so our defense carried us last year into the finals, and when we really started playing great football the second half of the year, it was we were riding those guys' coattails, and we graduated some good players, but we have some good guys coming back. Jordan Thomas and Joe Von George are two staples on the defensive line who played really well for us last year. They're a year older and a year stronger and more experienced. We'll have a couple other guys, Brody Alston, Aiden Herodic, a couple other guys filling in, getting some playing time up there as well. At the linebacker core, graduated some good guys. Do return Jay Brown, who's our Mike linebacker, class of 2024. Our vocal leader, should fly around and make plays for us. And then we got some young guys in there competing for spots. Vinny Bertone, Kyle Ramos, Lamont Lester, a bunch of other guys who are going to be in there playing good football for us. And the secondary, it starts with really the Severin brothers. We got a set of twin brothers, Nick Severin and Matt Severin. We're going to be back there. Shaquan Walters, Michael Gennardi. We're still wide open, right? We're still in late July, so some positions are still wide open. There's some competition going, but you're right, Larry. You got to play great defense in our league, and with this schedule, you got to play great defense if you want to go deep and have a chance to win it all.
I always talk about a program, not a team. You put together a program, you build it up, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. Last year you got off to a slow start, and we came here and you played St. Peter's and you won. And if I'm not mistaken, remember, they only scored one offensive touchdown. It was a fumble deep in your territory. The team took off from that point. Now that they're another year old, most of those kids are coming back. Most of those athletes are coming back. How important is that those games that you played last year will infringe on this year?
It's really been our focus all offseason to get out of the gate and get off to a good start and not have to, play catch up. We've kind of dug ourselves a hole the last couple of years and had almost needed a wake-up call before we started playing the ball we're capable of. So we want to get off to a good start. Listen, we made it to the finals last year and came up short, and all of us still have a bad taste in our mouth from that. All of us, every coach, every player in this program is extremely motivated, knows we have a job to do, want to finish the job this year. And like you said, a lot of us have been there, have played in those big games, so we hope that being battle tested and being experienced there, we hope that is a big benefit for us.
So that game against St. Peter's was a turning point, not only in that year, it also could be a turning point for this year going forward. You continued the way you played from that game on.
Yeah, you want to keep riding that momentum. You want to, you got to learn how to win, right? You got to learn how to finish, and that's where we're at. We feel like being in a lot of those big games, especially a lot of our main guys, starting with our quarterback. Like, you've been there, you know what to expect, you know what it takes. Now we got to go finish it.
Let's talk a little about your quarterback and your running back. He's a senior. He played very well left-hand throw. We'll talk a little about him and your running back.
Well, so our quarterback's actually a righty. Nick
I thought he was left-hand.
No, he's a righty.
Okay.
Listen, again, Nick really played well down the stretch for us last year, and in today's football, right, you need the trigger man to really take you there. I think he's more confident. He's certainly had a really good offseason in the weight room. His arm's gotten stronger. That's going to be just his decision making, right, and his ability to make plays for us in big moments are going to be, are really going to be one of the key factors for us. His coaching staff, his teammates have all the faith in him. He's the guy to get it done for us.
And your running back?
Ronnie Heath, a 2-year starter, extremely underrated football player, great vision, slasher, ability to break tackles. Last year started pulling away from guys when he got into the open field. You mentioned the St. Joe's game, so him with that offensive lineman in front of him is exciting.
I remember I came here and Joe Hausman, we know Joe for hundreds of years doing the Jamboree games, which you're familiar with because you played in it. And he told me, he said, watch that running back Heath. He's good. He's really good. He's coming along. And he opened my eyes to him when we came last year.
Yeah, no doubt. Ronnie's another one of the real leaders on this football team. Just a guy who everybody loves being around, leads in the locker room, just does the right thing, and can't say enough about him. You know what I mean? We have no problem giving him 25, 30 carries a game, as he's had some of those games over the course of his sophomore and junior year.
With that offensive line, he might be the best thing to do. Kill the clock and score those long drives. We hear you told us about your schedule. I'm surprised that you're going to start August 26th against the Maryland team. Talk a little bit about your schedule.
Yeah, so we're opening early. A lot of teams are opening that week before Labor Day weekend. We're one of them. So August 26th, we're going to host Archbishop Spalding here, which is a really good program out of the Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. They got, I think they would fit in really well in our league. They really remind us a lot of the teams we play. So that's going to be a tough one, but we're excited we're here. And then we're going to get on a plane the following week. We're going to go down. We're going to play Edgewater High School in Orlando, September 2nd down there. And they have a top 5 running back in the country who can pretty much pick the school he wants to go to. They're going to have great speed and great athleticism. So 2 really good opponents right out of the gate, and we're going to find out about ourselves early.
And then your rest of the schedule, you got the Bergens and the Joes, right? You're playing them?
Right into it. We play Joes real early this year. Okay, and then you get into the Jersey gauntlet. So there's no easy ones.
There's no easy one. And if you're going down early in September to play a team in Orlando, this weather here is perfect to get you accustomed to it, because it's going to be warm in Orlando in early September.
Absolutely. We're playing them at night. We're playing them at 7 o'clock, so hopefully that helps a little bit. But no, that's something we're talking about and focusing on, and that's why we want to be in great shape and great conditioning by the time we get to that point.
So you're a month away from your first game right now. Are you happy where the team is right now?
I am. You know what? We're healthy. We're getting a lot of our younger guys are getting a good amount of reps, so we're trying to build some depth and build some experience. I think the attitudes are good, and guys are excited. Like I said, we got a job to do. We're real focused on it, and we want to put the work in. We want to put the work in to make sure we get the job done.
Well, I want to thank you. You got your work cut out with you. Tough games, right? There's no easy breaks with the schedule they put together, and the 2 teams you're facing are going to be a great challenge for you.
No, you got to earn it every single week, and listen, that's why we love it. That's why we're here, and I believe in the group of guys we have down here who are looking to. We can't wait to get out here. We believe in these guys, and we feel like we got to go show everybody what we can do on the field.
We're definitely going to see you at the end of October when you play at Paramus Catholic in what we call the meatball game. We have to explain that to the fans. I think most fans understand that. They're shaking their head and they're circling it, and we'll be seeing you then. And by then you start putting an idea of what the next couple of weeks will look like by then.
For sure. It'll be here before we know it.
Oh, absolutely. December will be here, and Championship Week will be here. Thank you so very much for always giving us your time. It's a pleasure. We know you a long time. You've always been great to us, and we appreciate it.
No, thank you guys for all you do for high school football and for Don Bosco, and can't wait to see you guys in a couple weeks.
We'll be here. Thank you very much. That's Coach Dan Sabella, the head football coach here at Don Bosco Prep.
We're continuing our interviews with the up-and-coming season and the many coaches that we have. And today, the trip is at St. Joe's Regional. And we have met, this young man here is a friend of ours. We used to always get together at the coffee shop. Dan Maranji, a fantastic coach, young coach, and he's got a great plan for this year.
Yep. We're really excited about what we got going.
Well, right off the bat, we should talk about the up-and-coming schedule that you have. I know you're taking a trip to Maryland.
To open it up in Maryland at Good Counsel. They're a top 25 team in the country. Played them last year. Unfortunately, we came up short, but they returned most of their team, so it's definitely going to be a challenge. Come back home and open up against DePaul in our home opener. travel up to Ramsey to take on Don Bosco. Then we'll take part in the Battle of the Bridge against St. Anthony's down at Rutgers. We'll come back home and play St. Peter's. And then we're at MetLife as part of a doubleheader for Zone 6. We're going to be playing Bergen Catholic. Then we get a little bit of a rest. We get the bye week. And then we close out with a grueling stretch with Bergen Catholic, Seton Hall, and Delbarton.
And in that middle streak, there's always that one game that I love to go to, and that's in Bergen Catholic St. Joe's here.
Yep.
Forget about the teams. Forget about who's better, who's worse, who's got better athletes. The game is won on this field or at Bergen.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's a highly competitive game between two highly competitive teams that, it's what a rivalry is all about.
And I can go back in time. There was a player there, Estime.
Yeah, Aldrich.
Oh, what a player.
Aldrich is tremendous. He's doing a tremendous job at Notre Dame. He's going to be opening up as a starter, as a running back for Notre Dame in their opening game against Ohio State, who has one of our former players starting at center. Luke Whippler, one of our offensive linemen, is named one of the top offensive linemen in the country. So we'll have two guys center stage in that opening game of the college football season that everybody's looking forward to.
I remember that game here at this stadium with Estime, and we were up there, Larry and I think the three of us were doing the game. And you know what? We're like coaches up there. We could say anything because nobody cares what we say. But there was a play, and we figured you're going to give Estime one more time, but I think he was a little banged up at that point. But what a game with Bergen Catholic.
Yep. No, tremendous.
You always throw the game away. One team could be 15-point favorite. It's one on the field.
Exactly. It starts 0-0, and like I said, it's two highly competitive teams, and that's what makes the rivalry great.
So you have some changes. You have a new offensive coordinator, I believe.
So we brought in Brian Gibbs from Ramapo High School. We're changing our offense a little bit, opening it up a little bit, and so far it's been exciting to see. The kids have taken to it, and they're learning, and I think it's going to benefit us.
Well, you have to make some changes.
Yep.
And to me, something like that will help an awful lot. It makes make your life a lot easier.
Well, change is always hard, but sometimes you got to take a look, and I felt it was best for the team and best for the program going forward, and I'm excited to see what we can do.
Some of your players that came back, I know your quarterback is
back. Luke Henrich is back at the quarterback position. We have Jimmy Mullen back on defense. He's going to be a 4-year starter for us, also heavyweight champion wrestler. So, he's tremendous. You have Donovan McCoy at wide receiver, who committed to Yale. Connor McAllen on the offensive line, who's committed to Princeton. So, Brendan Erity is going to be back as a 2-year starter as a tight end. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys could do.
I also, you have a sophomore, a running back. I mean, where is this
going?
So
we're blessed in the backfield. We like to joke around that we're becoming running back U. We have our rising junior Yasin Willis, who was tremendous for us last year, and a rising sophomore in John Forster. And don't forget about Luke Tucci. I mean, he gets between the tackles and gains yardage. So we feel comfortable with the ball in any of their hands.
And your running back already has an offer or
possible
offer for Penn State?
Both our running backs have offers from Penn State, Pitt, Boston College, Rutgers. So that they're on the map, and we're excited about them.
So if you're a young man out there, hey, this is the place to come. I mean, can you imagine? You walk on the field, you probably haven't had a snap or two, and now you have a possibility of getting a potential scholarship, say, to Penn State.
Yep. No, there's special kids, and what makes them great is their character off the field. I mean, you walk here, they'll be walking on the side, big smile, greet you, and just a joy to be around.
Oh, what a beautiful place. I mean, it's hot, but not that hot.
No, today's not that bad.
How have you been with all the COVID-19 and all these problems that we've had?
So, I mean, we've carried over from a couple of years ago when we had the COVID-19. We did a tremendous job. We didn't miss any games. We played the most games at anybody. So our kids understood, and they know what's expected of them. They know how to take care of themselves and stuff like that. So we didn't have any issues last year, and looking forward to this will be last year we were without a field for all summer.
That's right.
So we just had a brand new field put in. So it's nice to actually practice this summer.
Yeah,
at your own
even
on your field.
the state set up, because in speaking with the athletic director at Westwood,
Yeah.
he mentioned, we have to give in between a week off. for
Yeah,
the
so
kids and-
we took our dead period. We gave 2 dead periods, 2 10-day dead periods to our team, and working them up. And we work closely with our strength and conditioning staff and our training staff to maximize the time we use when we're on the field and off the field. And we always joke around, but it's really not a joke that I always ask the kids every day, what's the most important piece of equipment that you can have on a football field? And it's your body. It's your body. So take care of it.
But when I look at your team and all the other teams, it's unbelievable what you have to do to get ready.
Yep.
And we all want to get to the end. And I know when we get the Bergen Catholic and St. Joe's game and the Don Bosco, you have to have one of the toughest schedule in the country.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
There's
no easy plays. There's no easy team. Is there anybody on your thing that you may win or lose against?
Yeah.
Unless if you don't play your game.
If you don't play your game, you're gonna lose. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's the way it's been for a couple of years. It's what makes this league great. Makes this state great. Makes this, this bracket great. That you got to be on your game, and you also got to look at the big picture. So during the season, you got to take it one week at a time. Try and go 1-0 each week, and learn from any mistakes that you may make, and grow. And then at the end of the year, that's when you want to be clicking. You want to be clicking in November, and ride it to a championship.
Yeah, for us, for WCTV, we love coming up here. To me, it's a place to be. You look at the hills. You can actually, as a player, you can run up and down those hills.
Oh, they do plenty of that. They do plenty of the hill training. That's been a staple of St. Joe's for the last 40 years. So we continue to keep that tradition.
And I know WCTV will be there. We'll be seeing your games. We'll try to do as many games as we can.
Yep.
I love to do the Bergen St. Joe's because I know that's the game of all games. That could be for #1 in the state.
You never know. You never know. We take it one game at a time, and we let that stuff sort itself out in the end. When the dust settles, we'll let that we'll let everybody else decide.
And of course, Dan here is one of our close friends. We get together at the coffee shop. Well, we don't see lately because you're busy up here. You're in this shed behind us right here. Look at this place.
Yeah.
Do you know who #2 was? Look at this, St. Joe's #2.
Yes, that's Louis Jesus, NC State. Played at NC State, linebacker, tremendous linebacker here. He was here prior to me getting here, but he was a tremendous player.
Excellent player.
I mean, I know. Coaching against him, we had the game plan against him. He was a tremendous player.
Well, with that, I look at time, I look at the weather, the beautiful clouds. We're here. I know you have plenty to do. You have to make sure you go in. Any practice today indoors, probably?
No. We'll be outside. We'll be outside this evening.
This evening, late.
Just a little later on. We'll be out here about 6 o'clock.
Full equipment, or
no? We'll just be in helmets for protective stuff. Today is the first day of the acclimatization period, so we got a couple days in helmets. Then we can add the shoulder pads, and we gear up for our first scrimmage a week from today.
Great job again, Coach.
All right. Thanks, John.
Well, John, we've visited all the coaches. They were unbelievable. The time they gave us, as we said when we opened up the show a while ago, and what they have and how much effort they put into it. They were sweating, and the heat was in the 90s, and the humidity is high, and they're getting ready for those games. And well, with Dan Sabella and Don Bosco, we found out it's going to be August 26th, but most of them are opening up the first week in September.
Larry, you have to be. Just like you and I and Ida getting together and trying to get information, so when we do the game, we know a lot about the people. Plus, we want everybody to be out there and give this information out. And football is a great way for us.
And they were all so excited here now in August about their teams. They all are excited, think they have a chance. They're working hard. They will all be shown in the as they play these games out September, October, and then get into the playoffs in November, and ultimately the big championships the end of November and December. But right now, they all are very, very excited. They all think their teams are ready to go. They're all happy where their teams are. And that has to do, as we talk to them, how much work they do in the weight room, what they do in the off-season between January and July.
They're excited. We're excited because they play a great game, and our people that watch our shows will love it. And football is a great way to tell it. Tell it to the people.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the preview show. We're getting ready to start covering some of the football games here in Bergen County. Check our schedule at WCTV.us. Our schedule will be up there. Right now we have about 9 games that we're going to cover up until the 21st of October. Then the playoff starts for I believe the public school. The non-public schools, they go an extra week to the 28th. So check our schedule, see where we are, what we're doing, who we're covering, and join the game, and we hope you enjoy it. So for the entire gang at WCTV who worked so hard at putting this show together, and for all the coaches that gave up their time to talk to both John and myself, thank you so very much, and we'll see you along the way in these football games, during these football games. Goodbye, everybody.